Hey there, good morning, y'all. I'm Coach Veronica Marie, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about understanding yourself and thus understanding others. Because the people all around us, the world outside of us, is a reflection and projection and all of the above of what's going on inside. So if we understand the nature of things, then we can live healthier and happier lives. So if you ever wanted to understand yourself a little bit deeper, I'm going to present it in a very simplified way for you right now. If you know anybody who has an interest in something like this, I want you to share it with them, because the more the merrier. And the more information that we have as a collective, the healthier we can become together. So good morning, everybody. So when we understand ourselves, we understand how the world works, we can truly become a higher version of ourselves. Without knowing that, then it's kind of like hit or miss. Maybe I'm becoming better, maybe I'm not. You take great strides to move forward, to become a better person, only to find later that the problem still exists within you, right? So there's several layers of the self, and I want to present this in a simplistic way, right? There are books written on this, ancient texts. The library and Amazon is full. So I know that I can't cover everything in a short live, but I can help you understand just a little bit deeper, right? So there are layers to yourself. If you would think of an onion, then the onion is you, and the parts of you are the layers. Right? So you can't just deal with one layer without dealing with all of them eventually. The issue is a lot of people don't understand that, and they start getting confused as to who they are, why they do what they do, why others do what they do. Why am I creating this experience around me? Right? But when you understand yourself better, you understand exactly why and where you're creating from. So you're going to find many theories and many models about the self. But this particular one I'm presenting in this particular way for the purposes of Facebook Live, okay? So there's the ego, which is the outermost layer of the self. And in fact, let's talk about the persona. The persona is the outermost layer of the self. If you are looking at an onion, then the persona is the part of the onion that you peel away. It's the self that interacts with others in a socially acceptable way, right? So it's like when I am going in the store, I say good morning to people, even though I don't feel like saying good morning. I'm acting in a socially acceptable way. If somebody asks me, oh, how are you doing today? Then I go, oh, I'm doing great. How are you? That's the persona. It's the outermost layer of who we are. And we present the persona because we have to. There's nothing inherently wrong with the persona. What is the issue is confusing the persona to be who you are and to be who others are. For example, people watch my social media. They see my persona, right? Every now and then I give you a glimpse inside, but mostly it's the persona. And so you mistakenly think that you know me, right? And you know others, but you don't, because it's just the outermost layer. It's the way that I present myself. And we have to present ourselves in society according to our different purposes, right? So the persona can be seen as an ideal as well. So you might look at my social media page or somebody else's social media page, somebody who's teaching, a coach or whatever, and you say to yourself, man, I would really like to be friends with a person like that. I would really like to be in a relationship with a person like that. And what are you really talking about? You're talking about the persona. This person is peaceful. This person is intelligent. This person is caring for him or herself. This person seems to have a depth of knowledge. Whatever it is that you're saying, you're wanting the persona. And the problem in that is that the persona is not the person. The persona is not you, and you know it, because when you answer the phone, let's say you answer the phone and you could have been yelling and screaming prior to the phone call, but you pick up the phone and you say, hello. That's the persona, all right? So when you go one step deeper, you have the ego. And again, we need the ego as well. The ego is closer to your truer self, but it's not your truer self. Your ego is the way you are when you're comfortable, when you're relaxing. It's your feelings of how you see yourself. It's how you see yourself, how you see the world, and how you interact in it. For example, I see myself as a fitness influencer, right? So not only do I present that persona, but in my alone time, I pursue fitness goals, right? Because I see myself as a fitness influencer. I see myself as a friend. So in my personal life, I take time to talk to my friends when they need me. I see myself as a person who is from New Orleans, right? And so there are different practices and things that we engage in when we're native to a certain space or place, right? That's my ego. It's how I interact in the world with people in a way that is more authentic than a persona, but still not my true self. So if you spend a little bit of time with me, you might think, oh yeah, she is really cool and she's really down to earth and she is peaceful. I like that still, right? So you moved from the persona into my ego, right? Or the ego of the person that you're interested in. But keep in mind that the ego is also an onion, right? And so the ego is the sum total of your conditioning, the way you've learned to be, learned to see, the worldviews that you've taken on based upon experiences, and that's the subconscious part of you. So many people stop there and they think, this is who I am. So they say stuff like this. I'm healed. I don't need to do that work. I don't have to go through all of that. They see themselves as a healed person, but all of the subconscious processes say otherwise, right? Or I see myself as a person who doesn't care what other people think. That's what you think, but on the inside you really do care. You just learned how to stop caring because of pain that you didn't know how to deal with. And so again, you mistake that for yourself, your true self. That is not who you are either. You have learned to be that way, right? Even though it comes natural, the reason it comes natural is because it's subconscious. It's beneath your consciousness. So I remember a therapist presented it to me like this. If you have let's say a forklift or some kind of large construction vehicle, the vehicle itself is huge, but the cabin from which the operator works is small. But that operator is operating the huge machine. In that same way, your subconscious is operating the show. You're acting a certain way, you're connecting with certain people based upon subconscious processes. Example, when I started coaching, it was very hard for me to call myself a coach. Because I had some subconscious processes going on, but it was beneath my consciousness. So if you would have asked me, are you operating in fear? I would have said no. If you would have said to me, Veronica, you're playing small, I would have said, no, I'm not. I just don't like titles. That's what I would have said. But the truth is that the subconscious processes within me were creating a reality where I wouldn't call myself a coach. I wouldn't show up. It was subconscious, beneath my consciousness. So sometimes people are pointing out things about you, and you're seeing things in others that they don't recognize. But let's talk about you. There are things about you that you don't see and you can't see because they're not in your conscious awareness. It's in your subconscious mind. So it's going to take either triggers to bring them out, or spirit to bring them out, or a person who has skill to bring them out. Again, how do you know what's in your subconscious? You know what's in your subconscious through your triggers, through others who are skilled in doing it, and by spirit highlighting it. There are many ways to help support spirit in our environment to highlight our subconscious processes, but that's a topic for another live. So your ego has all these subconscious processes going on, and those subconscious processes are running your show. That's what people mean when they say we only use about 10% of our brain. Only about 10% of us is conscious, and the rest is beneath consciousness. And until you learn about human behavior, you're going to continue to identify with that ego. That's where feelings of failure come from. That's where feelings of success comes from. That's where untrustworthy feelings come from. Suspicious nature, sarcasm, pettiness, even things that make you happy are operating from your subconscious processes. Your subconscious processes are choosing your romantic partners. Your subconscious processes are choosing your job for you. Subconscious processes are choosing the way you relate and react with other people. You got to know about them. So then when we move past the ego, there's the higher self. And the higher self is all of you that we just talked about, the persona, the ego, and the subconscious processes. But one addition. It's the mind of your spirit. Your higher self is the self that proceeded from the mind of God, from universe, from the mental, however you want to look at it. Your higher self is not concerned with what people think. Your higher self is not concerned about what you have and what you don't have. Your higher self is concerned about your evolution and your highest good. The problem is we get separated from our higher self by believing that the ego and the persona is who we are. So you start saying things like, I know myself, I like this, and I know myself, I do this, and I know myself, I know myself. You know your ego. You do not even know all of your ego. You just know the superficial layer of it. Okay? So then your higher self is concerned with your highest good and intangibles like evolution, ascension, enlightenment. Your highest self does not dwell solely in this physical, dense reality. Therefore, it is not afraid. He or she is not afraid. Your higher self is not able to be humiliated because your higher self does not identify with your ego. It should direct your ego. But our human consciousness on this earth realm is limited from the time that we are born. And if we're not born into an environment that can groom us to move toward higher ways of living, deeper levels of consciousness, you get stuck right at the persona, or you get stuck right at the ego, and you never even go into the subconscious. You live a life of denial, and this is what people are talking about when they say you're living in an illusion. Your ego has created a structure, a paradigm of living, a way of seeing and responding to the world, and you think that's just how you are. I'm just the type of person where I can't stomach a liar. You've learned that. You've learned that. And so you make yourself unhappy when you come in contact with other human beings, because guess what? Human beings lie, and we all do it. And more importantly, we lie to ourselves, which causes us to live in illusion. So when people are in front of you lying, it's really a reflection of many things. And one of those things is how you lie to yourself. When you meet a person who's in denial and unaware, you get frustrated and aggravated because you're like, they're in denial, but so are you. Because if you weren't in denial, you wouldn't be feeling like you were feeling. So then a step deeper into your being from the higher self is the collective mind. Ancient scriptures tell us that the world is mental, right? And it's being dreamed and projected forward from a mind, the mind of God, however you want to look at it. And the mind of God is a collection of all the higher selves that exist in this world and outside of it. Some people think that this world is all there is, but there's much more. So the mind of God is a collection of all the higher selves. This is how God can be omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, right? And when we are, as an expression of God, living on this earth, it is our task to live as closely to our God self as possible. Don't even stop at the higher self. We need to live as closely to the God self as possible. And that comes with mindfulness, that comes with listening to teachings, picking up books, spending time in your higher self, in the different parts of yourself, getting to know yourself. You know, let's go back to that ego. So you think the ego is you. You think the persona is you. When you get up and you comb your hair and you present yourself to the world, you think that you're presenting yourself. You're not. See, I know this. I'm presenting to you my persona, because that's what we do in the world. When you show up at work, when you go to the store, even with your children and your intimate family members, sometimes you're showing a persona. I'm great. In Christianity, I'm blessed and highly favored. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. A persona. But the ego is where not only the conditioning is, but the feelings of depression that you don't want to speak about because your persona won't allow you. Your feelings of anxiety that you will not speak about because it doesn't benefit your persona. And that's cool, because your persona is what helps you to interact with the world and obtain the things that you need. It's just that you can't mistake yourself for the persona. You can't mistake me for the persona. You can't mistake yourself for your ego, because I just told you, in your ego, there's a whole lot of subconscious processes going on. There's wounding. There's what they call it, premature cognitive commitments. There's the things that you've been taught. There's incorrect information in there. There's information lodged and coded into your being from strong emotion. There's all kind of stuff going on inside there. You're not your persona. You're not your ego. But your higher self is pretty close when we're talking about integrating all the parts of your being for this earth realm. But your God self is your highest self. It's the self that existed before you were born. It's the self that existed before you had a chance to do anything. You existed. The self existed before you were able to say a thing, understand a thing, utter a word, before you were able to thrive in your mother's womb. Your God self existed. Your higher self existed. And the task again is to get in alignment with that, learning the laws of the universe, and abiding by them, healing. Don't ever fool yourself into thinking, oh, I don't have any more healing to do. I'm done with that. If you don't understand the laws of the universe and you don't understand the layers of yourself, then you're creating an illusion. And you continue to hold tight to that illusion, because when things happen to show you that you're not healed, you deny it because you want to live by that illusion. But if you were wise, you would take everything that comes your way, every person that gets on your nerves, every person that inspires you, every person that causes you to think, even a teaching like this, you would take it and look deeper. You would spend time on self-development. You would watch videos. You would learn about astrology. And you don't have to learn about astrology. That's up to you, because there are many different ways to skin a cat. And I know some of y'all out there that y'all not having the whole astrology bit. But learn about human behavior, the universe. Ancient texts tell us about the nature of the universe. Read it. Digest it. Talk about it. Get in groups. Begin to evolve and ascend together. All right? So that's it. Like I said, even though this live was long, it still could not encompass every single thing about the self. However, I hope you took something from it. And if you did, share it with a friend. I'm going to upload this video on my YouTube channel. I'm building my channel. I am putting some intention toward it. And I'm doing it because that is my service to the collective. I help you to live a healthier and a happier life. I do that by helping you to eat right, helping you to think right, helping you to align with spirit, and helping you to create a body that you love. If you need any of that, inbox me, and I surely will be very open to talk about how we can work together. This is not a hustle for me. Some people say, oh, I admire your hustle. This is not a hustle. This is my life. This is how I live, and this is what I do every single day for people.